The Bermuda Triangle, one of the deadliest places on Earth. A hot zone where ships and airplanes vanish without a trace. But halfway around the globe, at its polar opposite, there lies another triangle. This one more mysterious and more deadly. It is known as the Dragon's Triangle.
The Dragon's Triangle is an area where ships disappear, planes disappear, and other kind of phenomena occur.
There's really no way to predict what sorts of things you're going to see out here. And we do see some pretty odd stuff.
We'll explore the mysteries, the evidence, and the science behind one of the most treacherous, dangerous, and puzzling triangle regions on the planet.
If your ship was right on top of that gas bubble, you would sink because you wouldn't have enough buoyancy to keep your ship floating.
As events involving ships, planes, and submarines continue to terrify passengers and mystify experts, many wonder, what is down there? And what could possibly be next in the Pacific's Bermuda Triangle? 25 degrees north, 142 degrees east. These are the coordinates of the center of one of the most mysterious triangle regions on Earth. For centuries, this area has hosted some of the most bizarre disappearances of ships, airplanes, and loss of life anywhere on the planet. But this is not the Bermuda Triangle. It is a 500,000 square mile area located in the deep waters of the Pacific Ocean. It is known as the Dragon's Triangle.
The Devil's Sea, or the Dragon's Triangle, is an area off the southern coast of Japan where supposedly many unexplained shipwrecks have taken place, where planes have disappeared, very similar to the Bermuda Triangle in, of course, a very different part of the world.
The Dragon's Triangle is a large area of water off the east coast of Japan, bounded by Japan and Guam, in the Philippine Sea, in which navigators and ships have reported for thousands of years loss of ships, loss of compass readings, and strange objects flying out of the water.
Curiously, its counterpoint in the Atlantic, the infamous Bermuda Triangle, lies directly across the globe, along the 35-degree latitude line. Both areas are believed to contain some of the world's deepest waters, much of which remains unexplored to this day.
Both the Bermuda Triangle and the Dragon's Sea lie along the same latitude, and both have the same anomaly where geographic north and magnetic north seem to come together, so compass readings are off by 20 degrees. And that's why researchers believe there are so many lost planes and ships in these areas.
It's quite interesting to see that they are both at exactly the same location.
The boundaries of the Dragon's Triangle are generally believed to stretch from central Japan to Guam to the Mariana Islands. While lesser known to the west than the Bermuda Triangle, unexplained disappearances and strange phenomena occur in this area with a far greater and more alarming frequency. Since World War II, it is believed that over 1,500 vessels and hundreds of military, commercial, and civilian aircraft have disappeared.
The Dragon's Triangle has had many more ships disappear than the Bermuda Triangle. And the ships that have disappeared in the Dragon's Triangle have been large ones, military ships, cargo ships.
What's so odd about the Dragon's Triangle compared to the Bermuda Triangle is that the Bermuda Triangle has so much more press. Why would that be?
The area first gained modern notoriety in 1989 with the publication of Charles Berlitz's The Dragon's Triangle. Berlitz, coincidentally, was the author of the book The Bermuda Triangle, which reopened that mysterious case in 1974. For years, Berlitz studied the reports of ship and aircraft disappearances in this area, along with reports of UFO sightings and other anomalies. According to his research, compasses often fail or give wildly inaccurate readings in the triangle. Boats and airplanes report being moved far off course in a matter of seconds. Sightings of ghost ships have been reported for over 100 years. And finally, hundreds of ships, airplanes, and even submarines have, without warning, fallen to the bottom of this extremely deep region. One of Berlitz's most terrifying and puzzling unsolved cases involves what he considers unseen and unknown forces that pulled legendary pilot Amelia Earhart down to her death in the heart of the Triangle in 1937.
She goes more than 2/3 of the way around the world, over 22,000 miles. I look eastward over the Pacific, she writes. I shall be glad when we have the hazards of its navigation behind us. This fleeting radio contact is the last verified report of Amelia Earhart.
Here's a story where Amelia Earhart was flying off Guam. Some say she was on a spy mission for the United States, and she lost her compass bearings.
July 2nd, 1937, 12:30 p.m. Pioneering aviator Amelia Earhart and navigator Fred Noonan left Lae, New Guinea on the last leg of her round-the-world flight. Their flight plan would have taken them 2,500 miles to Howland Island for a refueling stop and over the Dragon's Triangle. The two were never seen again.
Her compass and her instruments went down. Her plane was lost. She was never heard from again.
To this day, Earhart's disappearance remains one of aviation's greatest unsolved cases.
The Dragon's Triangle is also host to stories of ghost ships appearing out of the fog.
Berlitz associates the Dragon's Triangle with one of the sea's greatest mysteries as well, ghost ships. Large ships floating at sea, completely devoid of people, cargo, and equipment. He claims the region has been fraught with unmanned floating hulks for centuries.
In Japanese tradition, these ghost ships are typically malevolent. They want to destroy the living people that they run into.
Ghost ships exceeding 100,000 tons have been seen floating aimlessly in the Dragon's Triangle. If true, how does an entire crew vanish without a trace? Berlitz points out a pair of horrifying ghost ship cases in his book. June 11, 1881, 4 a.m. According to reports, the HMS Bashante encountered the legendary glowing Flying Dutchman ghost ship late at night in the deepest area of the Dragon's Triangle. A naval ensign aboard the ship, a prince who would later become England's King George V, made the following entry in the ship's log.
The Flying Dutchman crossed our bows. She emitted a strange phosphorescent light, as of a phantom ship, all aglow. She came up on the port bow, where also the officer of the watch from the bridge saw her. But on arriving, there was no vestige or any sign whatever of any material ship to be seen, either near or right away to the horizon. The night became clear and the sea calm.
January 1989. Berlitz says that a Japanese whaling ship skippered by Captain Moro Sagakami came within 50 feet of a small fishing boat that was bobbing erratically in their course one dark, clear night. The captain and several crew members arrived to find a ship completely barren of all crew and cargo, save for the corpse of the captain, still gripping the helm.
As far as ghost ships are concerned, what if the crews themselves were abductees? So the reason the vessel is adrift, the reason there's no crew, no remains, is that the crews are simply gone, taken by a USO.
According to Berlitz's research, dozens of vessels have gone even further off the radar. They have disappeared from the Triangle entirely. On April 19, 1949, the Kuroshio Maru No. 1 disappears with a reported crew of 23. On June 8, 1952, 29 crew members of the Chifuku Maru No. 5 vanish. June 26, 1955, a U.S. Air Force F-3B jet loses radio contact with its base. Its two-man crew disappears. March 12, 1957, 8 crewmen aboard a United States Air Force KB-50 tanker transport are reported missing. June 7, 1963. Remains of the Donan Maru are found floating on the ocean surface off Shio-Nomizaki. But an event forever etched into triangle lore and Japanese history is the mysterious sinking of the Japanese research vessel Kaiyo Maru No. 5.
Kaiyo Maru No. 5 was a Coast Guard ship researching about that area.
On September 24, 1952, the Japanese Maritime Safety Agency research vessel Kaiyo Maru No. 5 is in the Dragon's Triangle.
She went out to the Dragon's Triangle specifically to find out the cause of all the losses of vessels in that area.
Suddenly, without any distress call, she disappears forever, taking with her a crew of 22 and 9 scientists. In their official Kaiyo Maru No. 5 accident investigation report from March 1953, the Marine Coast Guard states, "We have to investigate when, where, why it disappeared, because there are no witnesses and no survivors for this accident." While many conclude that the ship fell victim to an underwater volcano's eruption, others remain unconvinced.
Very ironic that here you have a ship that's going out looking for other ships and it disappears. And that oftentimes happens in these mysterious triangles.
Because of this event's importance to Japanese maritime history, today in Tokyo there is a shrine dedicated to the memory of those lost in this mysterious sinking. Coming up, commercial and military pilots and captains report frightening shifts of the time-space continuum when navigating through the Dragon's Triangle.
He had experienced missing time during the period he saw the UFO.
Like the Bermuda Triangle in the Atlantic, the Dragon's Triangle in the Pacific just off Japan is believed to play havoc with the so-called time-space continuum of planet Earth. This unexplained phenomenon reportedly causes ships and airplanes to be forced off course by miles and miles, and for clocks to suddenly change time, all in an instant.
Some of the theories for the Dragon's Triangle include that it's an anomaly, that there's some kind of magnetic anomaly, that there's some kind of black hole in the ocean, that there's something from outer space that zooms down and has some kind of interaction with, craft there and they disappear. But as far as we know, things happen there and we don't know why.
In the late 1950s, American television and radio personality Arthur Godfrey, an accomplished pilot in his own right, reportedly experiences a frightening occurrence in the Dragon's Triangle, one that nearly cost him his life.
In the 1950s, the band leader and television personality from America, Arthur Godfrey, was piloting a twin-engine craft over the Dragon's Triangle. He saw a USO. The instruments on his plane went dead. He was low on fuel. He had to navigate by the sun because his compass was out. When his instruments came back on and he was able to get over land again, he found out the same exact thing, that he had experienced missing time during the period.
With only enough fuel for 3 hours, Godfrey piloted his craft on dead reckoning. After 1 hour, his instrumentation returned, and he was able to return to course. However, Godfrey would later report that he inexplicably lost a half hour. His clocks literally rolled backwards. Fortunately for Godfrey and his crew, they safely arrived in Tokyo, avoiding the terrible fate of Amelia Earhart and countless others in the Dragon's Triangle. Other similar time-space anomalies over the Triangle have been reported by military pilots in the 1950s and 60s, including Air Force pilot Frank Hopkins, an advisor to the 106th Air Transport Group. In the summer of 1968, he wrote to Argosy magazine with a story of a time-space continuum shift while flying a C-97 Stratofreighter over the Dragon's Triangle. In the spring of 1966, I was a basic navigator aboard an Air Guard C-97 flying from Kwajalein Island to Guam. We looked forward to a pleasant night flight of about 6 to 6.5 hours. Hopkins says that this one more mysterious and more deadly. It is known as the Dragon's Triangle.
The Dragon's Triangle is an area where ships disappear, planes disappear and other kind of phenomena occur.
There's really no way to predict what sorts of things you're going to see out here.
Marines continue to terrify passengers and mystify experts. Many wonder, what is down there? And what could possibly be next in the Pacific's Bermuda Triangle? The Bermuda Triangle, one of the deadliest places on Earth. A hot zone where ships and airplanes vanish without a trace. But halfway around the globe, at its polar opposite, there lies another triangle.
And we do see some pretty odd stuff.
We'll explore the mysteries, the evidence, and the science behind one of the most treacherous, dangerous, and puzzling triangle regions on the planet.
If your ship was right on top of that gas bubble, you would sink because you wouldn't have enough buoyancy to keep your ship floating.
As events involving ships, planes, and submarines 25 degrees north, 142 degrees east. These are the coordinates of the center of one of the most mysterious triangle regions on Earth. For centuries, this area has hosted some of the most bizarre disappearances of ships,